couple of years ago and I would say the reset that has already begun, and I was told, oh, you can't say that, you can't. And I say, I have to say that because it's true. And it is all setting everything up for those that are in the right position. So no, it's not all doom and gloom. If you have your food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, so you hold your purchasing power, community, and shelter. For those of us that have gotten into that position, we will have the ability to sustain our standard of living and take advantage of the opportunities. So let me show you where those opportunities actually lie. You know, we're going to start with thriving with gold and silver during a hyperinflationary reset. And remember, I've told you there are two key things that are critical to real estate. One are the real estate taxes, because governments use taxation to generate the income that they need to pay for all the spending that they do. How easy is it to spend other people's money? And the other are the mortgages. As the inflation is going up, then, well, guess what? The ability to pay with real wages actually goes down. Because one thing we know 100% is that in the scheme, when they were developing this fiat money strategy, they knew that real wages would never, ever, ever keep pace with inflation. So your mortgages may be fixed, but your other costs are not. Food, insurance, etc. So the ability for people to keep and maintain their real estate, or I'm going to even say these days, the businesses that have flocked into the single family home area, the ability for them to maintain and keep that is not, in my opinion, and historically, not very good. And that's what opens up the opportunity. You know, in the beginning, when you're getting liftoff, then what the government, what the central bankers want is that leverage, and it makes you look richer. But when things shift, you have to have the ability, boom, to pay it off, which is exactly what the gold is about. Holding your purchasing power when everything else is losing it, so that you can then go in and take advantage of that. So again, real estate risk that we're going to be looking at today is the immovable property tax, because you cannot put a piece of real estate on your back and move it. You can put a piece of gold in your pocket and move it, okay? But you can't do that with real estate, and it is a third of the dynastic wealth. So that's wealth that lasts in families at least 300 years. It is a third on that stool. And this is where the opportunities lie. The very inflation that had left many destitute had provided a handsome dividend to those who paid off their mortgages with the worthless currency. And so you can take real money gold, convert it into that worthless currency, and get that mortgage paid off like that. And maybe buy a whole bunch more of then income producing currency. Wealth never disappears. It simply shifts location. So the goal is to have that wealth shift your way. And you do that by holding your purchasing power intact. And frankly, gold and silver are the only undervalued assets. And gold is the only financial asset that runs no counterparty risk. None. You hold it, you own it outright. And we've talked a number of times of what happens to real estate in Venezuela. But just like in the US, just like all around the world where we're seeing property values rise in terms of the local currencies, it's just nominal confusion. Because this house, the house that I'm in right now, was built in 1929. Okay, well, it's the same house for all those years, almost 100 years, because we're going into 2022. Has that changed? No, that has not changed. But the value of the paper dollars that it takes to buy it has definitely changed. And the cost to maintain it with all of that inflation has definitely changed. So it's not that this house has gone up, it's that the currency has gone down. That's really what happens. So these are property prices in Venezuela in 2018. The price to income ratio is 160.34. In 2018 in the US, it was 7.4. So it shows you that the price to income ratio in Venezuela is really, the average person cannot afford a house. It's just that simple. A mortgage as a percentage of income is over 3,300%. Loan affordability index, 0.03. The loan is not affordable, period. And the price to rent even is at 24.33. Price to rent not in the city center is a little bit higher than that. But here's the reason why I'm putting this out, because so many people have rental property and they feel really safe and secure in that, except that you get to a point where people can't pay their rents. So the gross rental yield in the city center is 4.11%. The historic net rental yield should be 10%. So this is gross. This is before you have any property taxes, any maintenance, any repairs. This is not a good way to generate income because it's going to cost you more money to maintain this. Remember, governments don't really want you to know what in the world they're doing. This is not time to rush to Venezuela because it's not over yet. The whole world is going through the same thing. Look at the opportunities that lie ahead of us. This is really the point of the strategy. But my personal goal in all of this and why I do this work is because I don't think it's okay for you to work your whole life and have it shifted away from you by, I can't even say it because I'm too much of a lady, but I think you can get the drift, right? All you have to do is take advantage of what they are doing for themselves. They are pushing down the price of gold because they don't want you to know that the currency is dying. They're buying it hand over fist. They meaning central banks and also the very wealthy, because they know what's coming up and they want to be in a position to have the wealth shift their way so that you own nothing. They own everything. But I'm pretty sure if that's what happens, you won't be happy.